this one's a little different. Normally in class, we would have had a much more discussion oriented type of course. So I'm just going to kind of ask a lot of questions, and basically what I want you to do is think about the term sustainability, what it means, how it's often applied, and how folks within a community, say for example horticulture or agriculture, might view sustainability differently than folks outside of horticulture and agriculture, and how those two views might clash. So you can see by the date on this, 1983, that this definition of sustainability is has been around for a while. Is it something that still works? Do you like this definition? Do you think it doesn't encompass enough? Do you think it encompasses too much? It is something that, even though it's like what, 40 years old or something like that, the that we can continue to use this definition, or do we need to modify the definition? Do we need to have different definitions for different areas in agriculture? Do we even need sustainability? So these are all things that I want you to think about, kind of play, like a mind game, and think about some of those things. These are some of the things that sustainable agriculture will say is that they're working toward: environmental stewardship, protecting and improving soil quality, minimizing adverse impacts. Does this also include improving the quality of life for any grower? And now, again, think of my definition of agriculture as landscaping and farming and greenhouses and turf and all of that. Do all of those things have the same definition? Do they have the same goals? Should they have the same goals? Do we need to consider profitability? Can we, as an industry, consider the environment only? Can we consider profitability only? Or do we have to find a way to try to maximize both things? There's lots of certification systems out there. There are lots of certification systems for individual areas in this particular list of things that you see. So you might look at labor practices and the laws and regulations that are involved in labor practices as differently from ecosystem management and sustainable crop production. But the reality is, within all of these, there are ways that we as an industry can show that we are trying to be better at certain things, and looking for certifications saying that we are better is one way to do it. Is it perfect? No. It's just simply one way to look at things. Does the college, Food, Ag, and Environmental Science, does the university, does ATI, do we have an obligation to try to meet these things? The college says that they are interested in these four areas: production efficiency, economic viability, environmental compatibility, and social responsibility. Is that enough? Is it too much? Is it something that we need to look at from different areas? So it's, again, something to think about. Should a university be concerned about these things? Should the College of Agriculture be concerned about these things? Should they be concerned only because they're helping growers? Or should they be concerned from the larger aspect of Ohio State University? One of the reasons that people say they want sustainability, regardless of what their definition is because of the volume of high quality land that's available. And that's decreasing every year. Most land that's available for production is already under production. And any other land that we want to increase for production is not as good of quality as land as that we've already got in production. The fact remains that our crops yields have increased over the years, and our labor requirement has decreased. Has technology done that? Has an interest in sustainability done that? Or have all of those things done that? Are we going to be doing those same things more and more? What might farming look like 50 years from now? That's completely different than how it looks right now. We use a lot of photosynthetic productivity. And we know that anytime we grow plants, it requires an input. Is this something that we can continue? Can we look at production in the same way that we've always looked at production? Maybe that's something that we can't continue. Can you imagine a massive shift if, for example, we had to limit vehicles? How would agriculture change if you couldn't have vehicles? So all of those things are things that we need to think about. Lots of these things on this list are things that are already being done. So, for example, IPM, integrated pest management, is something that's practiced basically all over the place. as we recognize that chemical usage is not something that we want all the time. But ornamental plants is not something that we practice because it's not always a viable thing to do. So, is this a great list? Yes, it's a pretty decent list. Is it necessarily something that we can do all the time under every situation? Probably not. And then where do we apply rules and regulations? Should the government step in more and regulate these things? Should they step in less in regulation of these things? So all of these things are possibilities when it comes to different aspects of sustainability. All right, once again, if you got any questions, please don't hesitate and get in touch. Bye-bye.